Okay. All right, I will make a motion to open the meeting.
Second.
How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So this is December 7th, and this is a meeting, regular meeting of the Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals. And just to get a few background things out of the way, the meeting is noticed on the village website, and there is a link on the village website where people can use to join the meeting via their web browser on their computer. And we will be accepting public comments should anyone wish to give them, both in person and in the via computer. So we will get instructions when we get to that point. Primary agenda tonight is 31 Boughton Avenue. And are you here for 31 Boughton?
Yeah.
Okay, are you the applicant or the architect?
No, I'm the applicant.
Okay. All right, very good. So we'll get to a little bit of an explanation of what's going to go on tonight in a moment. We should just jump right into that, since there's nothing else on the agenda. Conflicts of interest. Thank you. Anyone have any conflicts of interest to disclose?
No, I do not.
I do not.
I do not.
Okay. All right, well, the one application we have tonight is for 31 Boughton Avenue, and this is for site plan review. And usually it's nice that we're going to give a little overview of how things are going to go tonight, just so you understand and you're prepared for it. For site plan review, one of the primary things we're looking at is how this proposal would possibly impact other properties and adjacent properties. So things like drainage, making sure, we don't do a lot of review of landscaping, but sometimes we want to make sure landscaping is done so the property is all right. We want to make sure light, if you put in light fixtures, it stays on the property and doesn't spill onto the neighbor's property. Those are some of the things we look at. We also want to make sure utilities are functional and the drainage is adequate and some other things like that. We've gotten some input already from the building inspector. But one of the main reasons we're here tonight is there's a public hearing, which gives an opportunity for any members of the public, such as be neighbors, people across the street, around the block, to present any concerns they might have about that or bring any issues up. We do not live right next to this property, so any public input is always appreciated so that we can better understand what circumstances and unique situations might be going on here. So with that said, what we're going to do tonight is first open up the meeting for an introduction to the project. And what we're kind of listening for is a general overview of what you're doing. And then if you want to talk a little bit about some of the rationale behind your design decisions, that can be helpful. But then the board may ask you a few questions. Some of the things we may ask you about are things like, what are you doing for landscaping? What are you doing for drainage, light fixtures, things that could possibly impact other properties. May have a few questions for you about that. And then we're going to open up a public hearing to solicit input from any residents or any member of the public that wishes to comment. And then what we're going to go through after that is the board will deliberate on the matter, and we have a draft decision template that has about 14 factors we have to consider. We're going to go through each of those 14 factors. We can give you a copy so you can look it over as well. And then we're going to come up with a couple comments for each one, like it's not applicable or it satisfies us because of that. And these factors are things like adequacy of drainage, adequacy of utilities, those type of things. So that's what we're going to go through. With that said, that's a little bit of a background, and go ahead and you're welcome to come up and give us a brief introduction of your project.
Thank you very much. My name is Eric Schoenhardt. I own Schoenhardt Construction. I represent Brooke and Austin Fossey,
Okay.
who recently purchased the property. It's their intention to want to improve on the home to be adequate for their family. On the rear of the house, there's a single-story addition that was added to the original farmhouse. We looked at that and found out that there is not an adequate foundation underneath that addition to support a second story. They desire to put a master bedroom above it, but the foundation is inadequate. So the project is we're going to knock down the existing 12 by 22 addition, and then we're in the same footprint, going to put in footings, foundation, and then build a two-story addition in the same footprint. So as far as its effect on the rest of the site, there really is no change to the footprint of the house. It's only going to be 2 stories. As far as drainage and things, we are putting, and I can show you a drawing if that's helpful. On one side of the house, there is a double gable end that will have a cant in the roof that's going to funnel a lot of roof water down in one point. So there will be a drop box at the top and a single downspout, discharging that onto the ground. But in terms of actual additional water, there won't be any additional because our surface area is the same as the original footprint. It's just a different configuration of roof. So there won't be additional impervious surface, just reconfigured impervious surface, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're keeping the footprint the same, and you're going up a story, I mean, fixing the foundation, that's a great thing to do. Let me guess. So do you know if the home inspector caught any of that when the house was inspected? I'm just asking, it's not.
I have no idea. I just know that when they asked me to come and take a look at it and said, can we put a second story on here? I said, there's no footing under this addition, so no. That'll never, I've been doing this a while. They'll require you to prove that the foundation's adequate, involves digging a hole, expose the foundation. It just wasn't there, so no, it wasn't going to be adequate, so. We told them that the best bet then at that point is to tear off what's there. And it's not very well done. There's a step down into it. We're just better off starting from scratch. The one other issue I wanted to address to you, though, you asked about lighting. There is a back door on the house now, but there will be a back door on the house in the future. We are putting a small roof over it, but it'll have a recessed can light in the ceiling of that porch roof. So all the light will just focus on the stoop. So it's not going to spill out to any of the other properties around there.
Okay, all right, well, thank you for explaining that. Now, in terms of landscaping, I presume you're not really changing the footprint of this. You already have a lawn planted there. It's just going to be a lawn. We don't really review residential landscaping. People are welcome to do something, but it's going to be cleaned up. You're going to tidy up the lawn and replant if needed.
Restore restore to the condition it was before we began.
Okay.
What about air conditioning?
We are adding air conditioning to the house. So the project as it relates to the planning board is just a demolition of a single-story addition and then constructing a 2-story. But on the balance of the house, we're remodeling the kitchen. We're taking out the second floor ceilings where all the ceilings are 6'6", opening it up, spray foaming the underside of the deck so they can have more headroom on the second floor, adding air conditioning to the existing house, and adding air conditioning on the back. Actually,
There will be an
Big
air
project.
conditioning unit.
there will be a single, condensing unit for the existing house. All the rest of the units will be on mini split units. So there'll be a wall-mounted
Yeah.
mini split that's heat pump and air conditioning to serve the addition.
I think, that's a good thing to bring up, because one thing we typically ask is that if you put in an AC unit that'll be visible on the outside, plant a shrub next to it, just so that's something in code, so that screen it so you don't have to stare at it. There's plenty of houses that don't have one, but we just ask that people take care of that, and we don't care what the shrub is. So you can select a shrub of your choice. Does anyone else have any questions about what they're doing?
No, bless them. Big project.
Yeah, I was asking a little bit about that, but it sounds familiar. I bought a house and found out it was structurally unsound as well, and had to do much more elaborate work than I was expecting when I bought it, and no one made me aware of that before buying it, and so unfortunately that happened.
Yes, it is. Well, I will say though, they did contact me before the deal was done, so they had that information before they decided to buy it.
Oh, that's
So
excellent.
I wasn't an officer surveyor, I don't do that shtick, don't carry the liability insurance for it, but I was able to tell them before they purchased it that if you wanted to put a second story addition, this thing would have to come down, so I did know that.
Okay. Well, that's good that they knew that. Okay. I think we should maybe, Kristen, do you have those comments from Steve?
Yes.
I was just wondering, maybe you could, I forwarded those around, but maybe you could just like at least read those briefly to indicate the building inspector's observations about this?
Yes. Do you want me to read your questions and his answers?
Well, you can just read his answers. I
Okay.
think it's pretty simple.
So per the building inspector, the addition is compliant with village code. There are no concerns in regards to utilities. There's no concerns from the fire marshal. Drainage is acceptable and will be moving to where the two dormers converge to a splash block and have no impact on the neighborhood property or the neighboring property. Lighting will be recessed in the small overhang at rear door, meeting all code requirements.
Okay. So that covered drainage and lighting, and the building inspector did not have concerns. So sounds like you've been interacting with them and sorting out the
Yeah,
issue.
but we also went through before the Historic Planning Preservation Board
Okay.
for a comment last month. I didn't ask for approval, I asked for comment on our plans, and I've incorporated their comments on it, and then I go towards the end of this month again before Historic Preservation Board.
Well, that's good. It's always good to get their architectural concerns out of the way first.
It's just easy.
Well, that, and you don't want to come back to us if you if you want to change a small aspect of it.
Right.
So if you get the major comments on the major stuff, update it, and then go through all your approvals. That's a great way of going. Okay, let's go ahead and open this up to a public comment. We have nobody present in the room. Is there anybody online? So,
There's 2 people.
okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, how do we vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. So since there's no one present, we'll take any comments the public should wish to share. If you'd like to speak, you can speak through the connection on the website. You have to click your raise hand button, and that will allow you to request to speak, or you can type a comment in the chat window, I believe. So is there anyone online that would like to provide comments? Nothing.
No one is raising their hands. We'll give a few seconds here to see if anyone's typing anything. Doesn't look like it.
Okay. All right, if no one wishes to give comments, did you receive any comments via email or writing or phone calls, Kristen?
I did not.
Okay, very well then. I'll just go ahead and make a motion then to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, how do you vote? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, looks like we have unanimous consent for that. Okay, so with that said, I don't have any more questions for you. Did you maybe want to open up your drawings and just kind of show us where you're talking about the drainage pipe and things like that?
Sure.
The drawings we had weren't the most legible ones in the world, but they were.
No, they're always terrible on that scale. So here's the plan view. Sorry? Yep, very good. So this is the overall plan view. This is the area of the addition back here. And you'll notice there's a gable end here facing to the south. We're creating another gable end here, so they'll be side by side. And this is a big cant that goes down to this collection box here, and the downspout will run down the side. And in elevation, it looks like that.
Okay, yeah, so that's on that side, that faces the house next to it.
Correct? To
I
the
know it
side.
is about 20 feet away,
Mhm.
and the building inspector said he looked at that downspout. It's not a tremendous amount of water due to a relatively small roof area, and he didn't think that would present any problems to the adjacent property. So, I mean, that's one of the few things that we're normally concerned about with this. And most of your review, it sounds like you already got feedback from the architectural board, which is excellent.
Correct?
And so if you factored that into their design, hopefully that goes well for you.
The ink's not dry on these drawings, yes. Just got them back from New York.
Does anyone else have any questions on these drawings or want some explanation of them? So this is the side facing the adjacent property, so it's the side of the property. This is the front.
This is facing the street, so you can't see it from the street, and then this is the rear.
This is the rear, and this is actually showing the addition. This is the existing front, and, okay.
I do have existing drawings if you want to see what the existing addition looks like.
I'm not terribly concerned about it. So we're interested in what you're doing. You're not changing the footprint. Now, you're welcome to make it bigger if you were interested in doing that. I was kind of surprised that you didn't want to change the footprint at all, but.
And, well, it really came down to budget. Honestly, we did have it 5 feet deeper, ran over their budget. We had a full basement going in underneath there. Asked to pare that down just to get it within budget, because they had to buy the house and pay for the interior renovations that they wanted, a new kitchen and a 2-story addition, so.
It's very expensive, yeah.
To get it, well, just to get it in line, you know, they decided to keep it. And we also figured, I said, that's going to be the simplest thing as far as historic preservation and planning and zoning. It's already that footprint, you didn't really change anything, so it'd be hard for you to say no.
Okay.
You made it very easy.
That's the idea.
Okay. And I see that all your materials are generally matching what's already on the house. You're
That's
you're putting in new windows to match. That's not really our review, that's the architectural review. Well, you must have gotten that message that just build the addition to match the original house, and that keeps you out of a lot of trouble.
With some distinction. You always want the addition to be defined as different, and so there's a 3-inch step back here at the corner that identifies that as an addition and not original to the home.
Okay.
I'm just curious, what did they say about windows?
Well, in the original house, we're keeping all the original windows, and so we're putting wooden storms on them. But then we're using an Anderson 400 series Woodwright, which is a historic type window for all the new windows. That's all these. And the existing house has a 6/1 window plan, so we're just continuing that. All the second floor windows are 1/1, and we're continuing that. These are 2 Jawas windows. Those are windows that have glass slats horizontally. Terrible for insulation, just lousy windows. And they're too small to make them into a double hung, so these will be casements. But again, wood casements.
Very nice.
Yeah, nice.
When was the original house built?
About 1820.
Wow, that's very old. What older houses in the village then?
Yeah.
I didn't know there were houses that old on the street.
I could be wrong, so forgive me if I'm misstating it. I didn't research that so much, but I can tell you the basement is about 5 foot high. Very short. Somebody put a concrete floor in it, which makes it shorter. You know, it's a
And it's got
duct.
stone walls.
Oh yeah, they're all stone. There's no block in there. So
Well, good for them, they've made it family oriented, just put a family in there rather than,
well, yes.
1885.
Sorry,
1885, okay,
I was bad. I was wrong. Pardon me.
okay. That sounds a little more common.
Yep.
But 1880 to 1900, or 1870 to 1900, there's a lot of houses built around there in the village. All right, I don't have any questions. Now, let's see. I had thought that we could take a look at one of our prior decisions. I asked her to print this out. This should be at the back of our thing. This is on 87 South Main, where, if you remember that one, we saw that one a few months ago, and they were building an addition over top of the garage. It was it was a similar situation. I thought it might make sense to kind of look through the findings we wrote for that and just kind of copy them.
Yeah.
So if anyone sees this, this is 87 South Main. And going through there, if we were to take a look at this, so first of all, the building inspector determined this will not create any zoning violations. The next comment in this decision, by all means, if anyone wants to change any of these answers, speak up. So the next one in here, item 2, we're looking at compliance with the comprehensive plan and LWRP. And the comment there is just that it's maintaining a prior residential use consistent with the comprehensive plan. I'm okay with that. Traffic and circulation, we found not applicable. Pedestrian and bicycle access, we found not applicable. Compatibility of the proposed use of this property with adjacent properties. And this is a residential single-family home, and all the adjacent properties are residential homes as well. I believe they're all single-family, but I'm not sure. I think this used to be a rental at one point in time, didn't it, before they bought it?
Can't answer that question.
I guess it doesn't matter. But now, the next one is adequacy of parking, loading, and access. It has a driveway and it's not being modified, correct?
Correct.
And it has a weird one with access from the rear.
Correct.
Okay,
From south?
from south, yeah.
From the next
And,
street.
yeah.
Actually, that would be the
Yeah.
west. Because north, the side where that double gable is actually the south side.
So,
Right, but it's South Street.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Right.
yeah, so it has a garage in the rear yard and a driveway going to the street behind it, so
Correct.
that's
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, next thing, adequacy of landscaping. Finding we had was the property is already landscaped and no changes are planned. You can add that the landscaping is going to be restored after construction.
Correct.
Okay. Signage is not applicable. As far as adequacy of lighting, maybe we can just leave it as the first sentence there, which lighting complies with code, and leave it at that. The one thing we do like to ask is that you use standard color lights, so that they're just the color of standard incandescent bulbs.
Okay.
So you don't use daylight bulbs, you don't use any colors, just standard plain Jane incandescent bulbs. So they're normally called
Warm light.
warm white, yep. That should not be a problem at all. And the general, the building inspector went over it with you, but basically our code says you can have one bulb in the fixture and it has to be 75 watt equivalent or less. If you want brighter lights, we can approve that, but it sounds like all of that should be fine. It's just an entrance by the door that you're looking to illuminate. You're not looking to light up the backyard. It's a different matter. Okay. Okay, so the next finding here, adequacy of drainage. Maybe we can change this to say the building inspector reviewed drainage plans and had no concerns?
Right, just take it from his email.
Correct, okay, that sounds good. Okay, and then for the next things, adequacy of water and sanitary sewer systems is not applicable. No changes are being made. Is that correct?
We are adding a master bathroom.
Well, that's inside the house. That's
Correct.
not utilities inside
No.
the yard and
No.
the new supply lines and stuff like that. That's mostly what we're interested in. Okay, so adequacy of water and sanitary sewer system, where they're saying it's not applicable. Waste and trash management is not applicable. Snow removal plans are not applicable. And whether anything will adversely affect health, safety, and general welfare. I have no concerns. Any concerns among anybody?
No.
Okay, no concerns then for that. And we heard from the fire marshal, and they had no concerns as well. So I think that's it for all of our criteria that we have. And did we have our, we had our resolution template here, right? That's this document right here. And so if you wanted to follow through with that, this was basically, I'll give you a copy of that. So this is basically our draft of our decision, and basically what we have is a little bit of legalese on the front. And then on the next page was the stuff we just went through, where we talk about the different review criteria, and we had a few comments of it, and so you just heard our comments about it. Anything else, or are we ready to vote on this?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. So,
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the site plan for 31 Boughton Ave for the reasons stated.
second?
How do you vote? Aye.
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 Okay, so we had unanimous approval.
Motion carries.
Okay, well, you are all set with us.
Wonderful. Thank you very
So,
much for your time.
and your next step is to go to the architectural board, and the building inspector will remain your point of contact, and he's going to help you through the rest of the process. So you go to the architectural board to get your building permit. Sounds like you're familiar with the whole building permit saga. So, well, congratulations and have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Okay, the next matter we had was meeting dates.
Yes.
I gotta get a mic to it. I updated it.
I think I listed Mike on there.
You did, but I changed it so I can put an X instead of like a check mark.
Ah,
So I'm gonna add.
okay.
I know, I think I'm not having.
No,
No, it's good.
I get involved in plenty of technical documents as well, and it's very frustrating to get it the way you want to.
Yeah, that took me a while.
Copying and pasting prior ones is your friend, as you're well aware.
Oh, of course.
Or enemy.
Yeah, but you could,
It can be your enemy, yes. Particularly if you're copying from one program into another.
Or even less, Justin.
Okay. Okay, so we had, I don't know if everyone has a copy of this. This is the 2023 meeting date. And I don't know if anyone had any conflicts. My suggestion I talked about with Kristen is we probably don't want to meet on July 5th, right after the holiday. So the options would be to go one more day, which is Thursday, July 6th, or the following week, which is July 12th. Any thoughts?
I prefer the 12th.
Yeah, me too. I like Wednesdays.
Okay, I was going to say the same. People are going to be on vacation that week, most likely.
Yeah.
Okay, so Wednesday, July 12th.
Any opinion, Mike?
Good.
Okay.
Everything else looks good.
So we're going to keep starting meetings at 6:30. Is that good for everybody?
Yes.
Mhm.
I definitely have a hard time starting earlier. And we used to occasionally have workshops, and now we're actually back in the building, but we haven't necessarily had a whole lot to talk about. We've had relatively simple applications.
Right.
So are we still okay with skipping workshops and adding them as needed?
Yes.
As needed, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So for you, we used to often meet half an hour beforehand, and we'd review the applications, talk about any concerns people might have, so that we knew some topics to bring up in the meeting. And then we'd also have the building inspector, if they were around, they would explain what was going on with the project to everyone. But we haven't had much of a need for that of late, so we'll add them if we do. All right, so I'll make a motion then to approve the 2023 meeting dates with a noted change of the July meeting will be on July 12th.
Second.
Alrighty, Member Loda,
Aye.
Member Hoppen,
Aye.
Member Shannon,
Aye.
Member Reynolds,
All right.
Chair Leistra.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, do you want to get into the minutes? I'll let others go over the August minutes. I was only in the meeting for half an hour, it looks like.
So Justin, your thought is to perhaps add a condition or two?
This is for August of
Right.
these are older.
Oh, I thought we were going,
Well, okay. Well, this is the one that included, I'm looking at August 3rd,
Okay.
2022.
right,
And that includes 15 Austin Park site plan, which is the one where they're demolishing a garage and building a new one.
right.
And then it had, I was part of that, and then I left the meeting, and there was minutes on 75 in a row that I was not part of. So that's why I was saying, if you guys have opinions on those minutes, I think you should drive the conversation.
I actually wish Mindy were here.
We can wait,
Pardon?
we can wait.
Because I just have a question on the terminology that the LWRP determination was on appeal to the HPV. So I would like to,
Yeah, because I have a question too, how there was a resolution done but never adopted.
Okay,
so if we could hold off on the,
it doesn't bother me.
on the 75 Minute
Do
Road.
you want to make a motion to table?
I move that we table acceptance of the August 3rd minutes, which pertain to 75 Monroe.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Member Happen?
Aye.
Member Shannon?
Aye.
Member Loda?
Aye.
And I'll abstain.
Okey-dokey.
And Mike wasn't there, so you're going to abstain too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds great. All right, so then November 2nd.
Okay, so the November 2nd.
So I'm sorry, get up on August 3rd. What page is that?
Page 4,
Page 4 that you were.
yeah. Page 4. In 6.2.1, starts on 3, and is the last paragraph in that section. That is on page 4. The board found. It's after the indented. So page 4,
Mhm.
after the 2 paragraphs at the top,
Oh,
and then it's the board found, it's in this paragraph.
oh, the resolution,
Yeah.
All right, that's from her, so I'll just leave that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it was just some clarification for me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I finally found the other minutes. I had to wade through all my, so this was the driveway variance meeting. So this is the meeting from November 2nd. And I guess, Mike, you attended, but you weren't part of the discussion.
Right.
Okay. And we heard Dave didn't have any comments. I was kind of wondering if anyone wanted to flesh out any of their comments any further. There's a number of comments that were made that don't always get captured in the minutes.
With respect to John Limbeck's comments, it says he presented that the property requesting the area variance is recorded as a 2-apartment Airbnb. Is that an accurate statement, or was it a presumption that it was going to be used as an Airbnb once the property had been rehabbed?
That was kind of my takeaway, is that he was presuming it was going to be an air bed and breakfast. And we didn't have, I mean, he can state whatever opinion he wants. I don't know what it's going to be. Steve didn't even know what it was going to be when I talked to him, other than it was going to stay a 2-family, something or other, 2-family rental.
Correct.
Honestly, I could not hear Limbeck or the other one, and I was not here for that meeting, so I have no idea, and it is so difficult without the papers rustling and the one screaming in the background. So I honestly tried my best with the,
I'm not,
and I don't even know what a 2-apartment Airbnb, I don't even know what that means.
The house is going to have 2 rental units, and they're going to be rented as Airbnbs rather than a year-long lease.
Right, but the apartment part is just kind of, that doesn't even make sense. So do you want me to leave that, or do you want me to strike that sentence?
We can, if you think this is important and we want to get that, I know that it's, speaking to residents, if we don't capture their comments in the minutes somewhat accurately, they get kind of annoyed sometimes.
He didn't submit something in writing?
Because he was reading from something.
Yeah.
I was not here, Brooklyn did not give me anything.
So my recollection is he was concerned about it being an air bed and breakfast, He was concerned that it didn't necessarily comply with village zoning code, which I think you had that in your second sentence here. Do you want to work on revising this, or do we want to leave it as is? But we try revising it now, or we could do it offline.
I guess the question is how important is it to have an accurate reflection of what was said? Is this everybody's recollection? Because I would also add the word potential to the last line before adoption.
Yeah.
So that it's clear that this is not something that has been adopted. This is
Right.
something that's being discussed.
Right, I think that's the proper correction to what he said, but that's not what he said.
Ah,
So, and I think everyone, it's important to render their comments as accurately as possible. I think in this case,
that was
especially so.
Okay.
I
Is
listened
it
to that part, I listened to this part for like
Is it, what-
time and time and time, and I could not understand it.
so he did read from something, so.
But he didn't submit it. That's
no, we
interesting.
didn't.
That's probably frustrating.
I think you captured it. I think you captured it.
And nobody took notes. I mean, I can listen to it again, but if I can't understand, he was talking, so there were so many different
Right,
things being said back and forth that
right.
but I'll listen to it again.
I have a few suggested changes. Okay, so first of all, the second sentence. I would suggest rewriting that to say, John presented concerns that the property requesting the area variance is a 2-apartment Airbnb, or I'm going to say 2-unit Airbnb. So I'm changing the word "that" to concerns that the property requesting the area variance.
Okay, John presented concerns that.
And instead of recorded as, just delete
Right.
recorded as.
Yeah,
Is a 2-unit.
You can say 2-unit, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so then again, that would be, John presented concerns that the property requesting the area variance is a 2-unit Airbnb. And then the second sentence, I would say, John expressed concerns that the driveway may not comply with other aspects of the zoning code.
The driveway may not. Other aspects?
Yeah, because he was talking about setbacks and things, and some other matters.
Okay.
Okay, and so then, yeah, both he and the other guest, they talked about pending legislation before the trustees about the short-term rentals. I mean, those were the two things I remember hearing from them, is he was concerned about zoning code compliance with other things.
right.
And whether it complied with all the standards for a driveway permit and the Airbnb aspect of it. That was the core of his arguments.
Right, right. But I wouldn't say pending, maybe. I think potential
Yeah,
is, or possible.
Let's see, the last sentence, John mentioned a discussion at a Board of Trustees meeting regarding a committee and the adoption of an ordinance for short-term rentals. So you're thinking we should add pending or add potential?
Yeah, that was Katie's, yeah, I think that
And
was.
add the potential? adoption of an ordinance?
Yeah.
Sorry. I forgot to
Yeah,
turn that
so
off.
we don't presume anything, any action on the part of the trustees.
Okay, so before the word adoption, we'll say potential adoption.
Sure.
And is the comments of Mr. Hickey, does that sound, that kind of summarizes what I heard from him?
Mhm.
I added potentially adopting.
Okay, again, and so
Right.
again, add potentially before adopting.
Yeah, because I know that.
Then you can't do it in bold with exclamation.
They are looking to.
I'm just reading the next paragraph then, which was kind of responding to those.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had a tough time with these because it was like the back and forth that I was trying
Right.
to.
Yeah, well, I think this paragraph pretty well covers the board's aspect to those comments, which is we're reviewing what's before us,
Right.
and the use of the property is not before us. Do we want to add it? I mean, I don't know if we want to add any notes to this effect, but my personal opinion is I didn't necessarily care if it was a two-family or a one-family home in regards to this particular one,
Not germane to the driveway.
because we've seen both
Right,
situations bring need for the same
right,
issue. The issue is a busy street.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about we maybe address that a little later on? So if we go to like 2 sentences down where it says Chairperson Leetstra referred to a similar application, I think it would make sense to mention it. So if we can change that first sentence and add where it says similar application, I believe it was 66 State Street.
Mhm.
And we can add that it was at a single-family home. Again, I don't know if that's relevant.
Then I would leave it out.
Okay,
Yeah, because then it's,
someone can review the application.
Right, I mean, because then somebody, could say that maybe this is, we'll do this for single families, to prejudice single family residences.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Favorably prejudice them.
okay.
You're making a distinction between,
Right.
yes, which one?
On the last sentence on page 2, can we change the building inspector found it to be a multi-car garage instead of driveway?
Yes.
And I went back and took a look at that garage, and I see why there was concerns about whether it could actually hold 2
Two
cars.
cars.
And I think when I talked to Steve, he was like, well, it's a 1.5 or a 1.7 car garage, or it can hold a car and a motorcycle or something like that. So he decided to just call it multi-car. That's why some of this was brought up,
Multi-vehicle?
multi-vehicle.
Yeah, especially.
Well, the term in code is multi-car,
Oh, is it?
Multi-car garage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is wide enough, I guess, to possibly fit 2 cars, but yeah, and I think that was some of the frustration from some of the people commenting is, but again, that was not our interpretation to make. That was the building
Right.
inspector's interpretation, and we have to go with it. And unless, on rare circumstances, we can, if we think it's a grossly erroneous interpretation, we can make an issue out of it, but I wasn't inclined to find that to be a gross misinterpretation.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm just commenting on it, we don't. And I remember we did ask the applicant if 2 cars could fit in the garage, and they said, yep, they think it can accommodate 2 cars.
To that point, I don't even know.
Maybe you get into it from like the sunroof or something, rather than opening the car.
Well, they might be small cars. Okay, anyway, so the discussion was, the building inspector found it a multi-car garage, so it was eligible for the 18-foot wide driveway. Okay, so I'm still at the bottom of page 2, and I had one more change.
Oh,
Okay, so that last sentence on the bottom of page 2, so I said to change the word driveway to garage,
mm-hmm.
and then it says, and the width, I would say driveway width. So insert the word driveway.
And the driveway width, jeez.
So, and the driveway width is legal, but the impervious lot coverage is not.
I think these are my worst minutes yet.
Well, these are,
This is not a reflection on you. This is
no, this is,
challenging.
no, I mean, usually I go through this and do my round of updates with typo fixes and wording changes, and you do yours, and we don't get everything. That's okay.
Yeah.
If we're just tweaking a few sentences, that's no big deal. Why we go through this?
Well, hopefully we're getting a new meeting room with some better sound, because that is,
Not good?
I cannot hear a lot of the, I mean, even like when you zoom in, it's really hard, isn't it, sometimes? I know some of the other board members are like, I can't hear you. I can't hear.
Well, I think it's very important to make sure we have good audio for people that want to log in.
Absolutely. All right, all right.
Okay, so there are some subsequent comments from Katie, you had some comments, Dave Marshall had some comments, Susan, I think you may have had some comments. Do these reflect your concerns well enough?
Yeah, I don't think the discussion needs to, the minutes need to reflect, every point of the discussion.
I would agree with that, yeah. I think it kind of captured the theme here, but
Yes, I agree.
we went around and around, and we just, we had some disagreements, and so, okay, that's okay. All right, so any other changes on the page 3?
I don't have any.
So, in Dave's comments, did he say that it's not typical in the village? Because there certainly are other instances. So I guess I'm asking what is meant by typical. Is that?
I think the narrow driveways are typical in his neighborhood, is what he was saying.
And so there is a driveway partially in front of a porch in
In his neighborhood?
his neighborhood.
Okay. I did look, and I found a few other examples of it.
Yeah.
I even found examples of parking lots in front yards.
Yes,
There's at least 2 houses that have a parking lot in the front yard.
yeah.
So,
Right.
there's a lot of stuff going on around the village that's all different.
Right, so, so typical village, I think that's kind of fraught, actually, or, I'd rather,
You can say what's just common in his neighborhood? Or just leave it at period after narrow driveway.
Maybe we should ask him.
I feel
Well, he
like,
looked at these.
yeah, and he said
So
that
I
he
don't
was
think we should
fine.
change it.
Oh,
if he
just
doesn't-
change it?
Okay.
Oh, okay, if that's what he said.
I'm pretty sure I can go look.
I seem to, my recollection of him talking about that was that he said they have fairly narrow driveways where he lives,
Right,
and he thought if everyone started putting in wider driveways, he was concerned that would change the character of his neighborhood. But again, he's talking about his neighborhood, which is different than what was before us. It's a different spot, but,
right, but 2 houses up, there's an example
yeah, well, but,
of what we okayed.
Okay, so
But anyway.
what am I doing?
Okay,
it sounds like we're not changing anything, because he
Yeah.
didn't request a change.
Okay.
I just like it to reflect people's comments if they felt they were important. We can get rid of the ones that aren't important, but, okay. Any other thoughts on these minutes?
no, and I think this is a great kind of wrap-up sentence, Justin, of yours, that the board reviews each application on its own merits and may have different opinions for different properties.
Yeah.
That was, yeah, well placed.
Well, that was paraphrased maybe a little bit, but I think that's clearer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we do for everything, but our goal is to find what's unique about this property and consider that.
There's a mistake. To close the meeting, it's not September 7th, it's November 2nd, November 2nd.
Yeah, do we even need the dates in there?
No, I just put them in for my own sanity.
Okay, update the date.
Do you want me to, or do you want to table this? Or do you want to approve with amended?
Do we want to go through some of the findings at all and tweak them?
I didn't think so, but did you have an idea?
I can, a couple things I was thinking, let's see, we have this resolution here. First of all, do you have any thoughts?
No, but I think Kristen's point was that, what do we want to do with these minutes? Should we approve them conditioned on the changes we just discussed?
I was going to do that, but I was going to say we get through the resolution first,
Oh.
that gets added into the minutes. Or do we want to just do the minutes first?
Does anyone have a problem with the resolution, I think?
I was thinking of adding a couple changes to it.
Okay.
Let's talk about the changes and then we can approve the
Oh,
whole thing.
okay.
Yeah.
So let's go to finding A on there. And Susan, you were just talking about this, that I think we can expand on how this is similar to other properties nearby. So I would say both adjacent houses have probably have more lot coverage of pavement than this one does. So I think this one, even with, so the one next door, the dentist, that has a parking lot in back.
That's right.
And the other one next to it, I think, has a 20 or 22-foot wide driveway. So it's even wider than the one here. And I think they had, I mean, we could pull up the views, but I guess I don't know the actual number for what the impervious surface was, but when I looked at these on the map, I think both of those other properties had even more impervious surface than the one before us.
So do you want to just add that, both adjacent properties?
Yeah, I'm thinking of saying that both adjacent properties appear to have a greater amount of impervious surface.
Sure. I'm good with that.
On top of what's already there, or are we changing the whole?
Yeah, I was adding a second sentence to it.
Okay, perfect.
So I'm saying both adjacent properties appear to have a greater percentage of impervious surface.
Thank you. Surface?
Yes,
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah. Because that includes the buildings and the house
Mhm.
and the parking lot. The other, so that at least has a finding for the impervious surface aspect of this. And then, does anyone think of anything else that's kind of unique to this property as to why how to help differentiate this from other neighborhoods? So I'm thinking of back in option, finding G.
Well, don't you, I think we have it. No on-street parking, and it's
See,
It's a busy highway.
right.
And then this, at least for me, I thought it was useful to note that there's mixed uses in this area. So it's right next to commercial. It's right next to, it has residential. And that tends to bring up a wider,
More traffic.
more traffic, and the appearance of properties is different as well with that. When you have the commercial right there, commercial normally has larger driveways and parking areas, and then residential. Maybe that wasn't relevant to any of this, I don't know.
I'm good with it as
As is?
stated, yeah.
Okay,
I think that could be a potential.
well, we don't want, that could be a Pandora's box as to like, it's like, hey, why,
Right,
just because there's a business nearby, you're gonna throw out the code?
right. Yeah, let's not go there.
We don't, okay, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any other changes?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, so I will make a motion then that we approve the November 2 minutes and wording of the resolution as amended in our discussion.
second.
Okay, how do we vote?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
okay.
Abstain, Mr. Mills, okay, motion passes.
Here, I will leave you my chicken scratch, Kristen.
Thank you.
I know you always appreciate my chicken scratch.
I do.
You're the only one that does.
No, I really do. It's so helpful and wonderful. Thank you. If I have any questions on any of the updates, I will reach out to you. But I think I got it. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'll take that back because we have changes. Oh, but we don't on the last page. It's up to you. If you want to sign it.
Hey, I can do that. As long as you just got to make sure these changes don't get too big, so it puts
Oh, yeah, well, if they do,
Where there's a will, there's a way.
yeah, I'll figure it out.
You just need my signature.
Okay, and so I believe our next meeting is January.
I always end up taking home more paper.
Okay, so this has my signature on it, but it needs to be updated. This is my chicken scratch on those minutes.
Thank you. Perfect.
So this is the example here of that resolution we had, what we were going through. And we're just basically copying items. I wrote a couple notes on there, so that has my chicken scratch on the next page.
Okay,
So you can kind of copy those into the other one.
perfect. Thank you. So many gifts you have for me.
Oh, we can do better than that.
This is wonderful.
We'll give you the gift of bad recordings.
Oh, yeah?
That doesn't sound like a good situation at all, to have to go through that when you weren't here. I go a lot by memory.
That's why I try to take a lot of notes. I have all these, like, I made sheets for myself. And I just try to.
We try to do what we can, but you do a good job getting the notes together, so
Absolutely.
thank you. I know that's not easy.
No, it's not.
Yeah, several people here have participated in writing minutes.
Yeah. And then I like the visual, so there was no recording of like the table, so it's like I don't know, because sometimes you guys sound alike, and then I don't know who's speaking, so it's all good. We figure it out. Someone's got to know the answer. All right, motion to close?
Sure. I'll make a motion to close. Anything else?
Second?
How do you vote? Aye. That was too long a pause. That was like a 2-second pause to close the meeting. We must be out of shape. That's like,
Days.
boom, boom,